Good morning, welcome back. You're still watching Life and Style. This is Books and Blogs, and I'm Catherine Mwangi. Now, 3 weeks ago, we had David Waweru, the chairman of the Kenya Publishers Association, and he had 3 books which he gave away. One of them was by Miss Connie Kivuti, and today we are privileged to have her here in person. Most welcome. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Connie has been graceful to give away 2 of her books today. I remember most of you really wanted this book 2 weeks ago. So today, at least we have 2 to give away. What you have to do is listen carefully to this conversation we're going to have, because I will ask you a question based on her life story. So how bad do you want it? Let's see. So Connie, I will start by talking about your beginnings as an author.
Right.
When did you realize that you're gifted in writing?
I'm not sure whether I actually just discovered myself that I'm gifted, but I've just been one of those people that love to just write reports, and
Yeah.
I'm on my computer all the time. But I want to reflect back on maybe about 7 or 10 years back.
Okay.
That's a long while ago.
Yeah.
I was doing some shopping for a book in Sarit Center. And as I was looking through the books, I started complaining to the lady who was next to me, who was also a shopper. And I was saying, just look at all these authors. All these are, you know, from the Western world and Wazungus. Where are the African authors?
Yeah.
And so that kind of, you know, took me back and said, you know what, we need to start writing. And so the conversation went on and we stopped, but I didn't actually realize that I was speaking to myself, that I actually need to challenge myself so that there's a book in there that can be said that, yes, this is an African author who has written.
Yes.
And so fast forward to just recently that I did come out with a book. And so for me, it's been just one of those things. I love writing, but I never quite imagined that I'd actually write a book. And I think I was maybe forced into fulfilling the words that I spoke about 10 years ago.
By the time you're doing that, did you have any desire to write, or it's just something, a conversation you're having, and then in retrospect, you started writing?
I had done a few attempts that aborted just in the first sentence. And so I would say that, yes, there was an inclination in the back of my mind that maybe one day, but I never really got to it. And so that even when I was having that conversation, I think in a sense maybe I was also telling myself, you know, you need to be one of those.
Yes.
So that's how for me it is.
Is this your first book?
This is my first book. And as I said, it's my first book. It's my first book that I've published, because there's one that is in the making that actually started before this particular one.
Yeah.
But I think Pause Lives is more of a, it had some urgency and an experience that happened for me, and so it needed to go out,
to be out there.
Yes.
So let's share that experience that motivated this book.
Pause Lives really is out of I like to call it a few seconds experience that totally changed my life.
Okay.
Something that took me aback and just rammed itself into my life, and I needed then to order my life according to this new situation that has come.
Okay.
And so as I went through this situation, it kind of forced me to realize that my life has come to a point where I am paused. I'm not moving. I'm in a frame. I'm stuck in a frame.
Stagnant.
I'm stagnant.
Yeah.
And so when I was in this frame, it's like everything else is moving. Life continued as normal for everybody else. But here I was in this frame, and I'm not, you know, making any headways. And so it then caused me to, I want to really share the experiences that I went through with somebody else that whose life is on pause.
Yeah.
And it could be paused for different reasons. It could be paused because you go to work early in the morning and you find a letter on your desk and you open it and you're told, we're sorry, but you know,
We don't need you anymore.
We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Or you could be a young mom and you just get a telephone call and you're told, you know, we're sorry, your husband has been engaged in an accident and he's no more. And you're a stay-at-home mom. Where do you start from? In a sense, your life gets put into a pause.
Yeah.
And so I realize people are going through paused moments, but they just don't know how to come out of it. And so this particular book, I wrote it actually as I was experiencing the things that I was going through.
In the valley, while still in the valley.
While still in the valley. And so it's really, I would say it's a really rich experience because then it tells you what are you feeling as you're in the pause mode. And as you go through that, how can you then lift yourself out of it to be able to go into the play mode. And even when you get into the play mode, you know, how do you then, you know, excel and move out and be able to make a difference to people and tell them about your experience so that they too can also get into the play mode.
Yes.
So it's one of those books that really speaks to real life issues.
Because it was a real life experience. You're not writing out, you know, outside a vacuum. You went through it. You've written about what you went through, the principles you put in place to unpause,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yes.
And also how to now start to, you know, gain momentum and soar. That's what this book is about.
That's what this book is all about. It's about also just the funny side of life.
Okay, would you like to share that?
I mean, it's just made of a lot of anecdotes that kind of help you to just laugh at your situation.
Yourself as well.
Yeah, laugh at your situation where you are, Rin. And it also through a lot of my life history in terms of some of the lessons that I've picked along the way that actually blends in to help you out of this pause mode. So that when we're talking about, for instance, you want to be able to immerse yourself fully. And I give an example, for instance, I used to love swimming when I was young. And just a feeling of swimming underwater. And you're fully immersed into something. You don't care what's happening on the surface.
Yeah.
Because when you're underwater, everything is quiet and, you know, and calm, and it's you're exploring in there. And yet we need to have such a commitment in the things that we believe in, that you immerse yourself in them. So that when you immerse yourself in it, it doesn't matter what people are saying. It doesn't matter what challenges are going through, but you're in it, totally committed. Because
100%.
100%, because you love it and you want to make a difference. And so, so it's a really 360 degrees look at life and challenges, and then trying to say, how do this make sense in my situation?
Yeah. Could you share with us maybe 2 lessons that you applied in order to unpause?
All right. I think for me, the 2 lessons that I would want to say is that we need to be in a position where we get to know that life just doesn't happen in a vacuum. For instance, my faith really helped me to strengthen myself and to know that God has a purpose. And when you look at, in the Bible, when you look at a man like Job, Job was this wealthy man. He had everything going for him. If you looked at, probably if he was a modern day Job, every type of car would probably be, you know, in his garage. And he had the wealth. he had the fame, he had
Influence.
the influence and the children,
Yes.
you know, and in a day, his whole, you know, kingdom
Yeah.
or economy just fell.
Yeah.
And within that, it was like God did have a purpose to even bless him, you know, so much more. So it's I go through what I did, but I know that at the end of it, there's something good that is going to that is
Come
going
out
to
of it.
emerge out of it. So out of this ashes, something beautiful, a
Beautiful
butterfly
ashes.
comes
Yeah.
out comes out of it. And so I want to say that. So one of the lessons for me was that it is not in vain that you go through, you know,
Situations.
the Good Friday. Because the Good Friday is where, as a Christian, is where Jesus, you know, went through a very difficult patch. But Sunday comes, and there's a resurrection. There's something new that comes out. So yes, you go through the difficulties, you go through the Good Friday, but there is a Sunday. And so we need to wait for that Sunday.
Yeah.
We need to be faithful because it is going to come forth. Come what may. The sun always shines.
Yes.
So that's one lesson
Your
for me.
faith.
My faith was very critical. The other lesson that I'd want to say is that we sometimes find ourselves in a holding pattern, and a holding pattern is a language that pilots really talk.
Okay.
It's like a parking in the sky. So a pilot comes in, and before he lands, he's told, sorry, the runaway is not ready for you.
Yeah.
So you need to park. And so the pilot will go around in a circle. And if another plane comes in, it will also join that circle. So it's called a holding pattern,
Okay.
because they're held there before they land. And so the lesson here is that if we are not, if we are too hasty or we're not patient and we disobey that holding pattern and decide, you know what, I'm going to go and land anyway.
Yeah.
You know, that you can imagine the kind of disaster
Yes.
that would be there.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that sometimes things happen or hold us back
Yes.
to prevent, you know, further damages.
But
and-
it doesn't
yeah.
mean that you won't land
It
anyway.
it doesn't mean that you won't land. You finally land at the right time, in the right place, and safely.
Yes.
But it then bothers you that you have to wait. You know, you can imagine the passengers in the plane,
Impatient.
wondering,
Frustrated.
you know, why? I thought we'd come in good time, and now we
Yes.
haven't landed. But then, you know, so those are the two
That's
lessons I would
powerful.
say that I
That is
picked up.
powerful.
And I think for me, because I'm very I'm very particular. So I really took time to actually go through my book and to make sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are
Dotted
dotted
I's.
and so on. So once I knew that I want to share with people my story. And once I started writing and, you know, just drafting every day, this experience happened and I put it down and so on. It was really a question of now, so who is out there? And so I knew some friends of mine who had written some books, and so I
Okay.
called them, and I said, you know what, I have this book, and can you recommend? And so I had two publishers that I got in touch with,
Okay.
and finally I landed with David.
Yeah.
And one of the things with him as a publisher was the fact that he resonated with my
It's
story.
your story.
And on top of that, and I just felt that he took me seriously. And I remember he read my manuscript, and he called me back and said, Connie, have you ever written before? And I said, no, this is my first book. And he said, you are a great author. And I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah, such great news.
It really was an affirmation, of this,
It was the right time.
this maiden journey that, I had taken. And so he comes and he affirms me and he tells me, I was so spellbound by your book. And so he took and he said, we can run with this. And he got me people to just, copy, just
Go through the
copy read
copy,
it
yes.
and so on. And so finally when it came out, it was a product that I was really happy about. And you'd be surprised that when I first wrote it, I actually had the title house arrest, under house arrest.
Oh, okay.
Because I had been under house arrest in my home for a period of maybe about 3 months. And so that was the title of this book. And but as we went back and forth, one of the editors was telling me, but Connie, you're talking about being paused, a lot in your book. Why don't we change the title and just call it Pause Lives? And so that's how the Pause Life came. And so it's been a very enriching experience.
Journey.
Yes.
So how long was that process from when you handed over your manuscript to when you had a book in your hands? How long did that take?
My book went through Paused Life itself.
So pause.
Yeah, it also went through a paused life.
Okay.
So it took a slightly longer time, but I would say that it took about 2 years.
It takes that long?
It took that long for this particular one because we had some paused moments with the book.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So what would you encourage the aspiring authors? Because we are very, especially this generation, we're very impatient. We write something, we think it's the best thing since whenever, and we're in a hurry to just get things out. But just listening to you speak, you were, first of all, you come across as a perfectionist. It had to be perfect. And then it took 2 years to get it out.
Yes.
Pause or unpause. And we have people who have manuscripts they keep because they give up too soon. What would you say to those people?
I think they need to just have confidence in the manuscripts that they have. They need to find the right publisher who will be able to kind of walk down this journey with them. They need to be able to ensure that if they're passionate about what they've written, then they need to be passionate to ensure that other people actually hear their story. And so they need to take that first step.
Yes.
Look for someone that can actually read it through and tell you, is it publishable? Do you need to add here and there? And so that, for me, would be the first step for them that they need to do. And then secondly, we have a number of publishers that are available that can actually encourage, and especially the local authors. And because we keep on talking about how Kenyans, we're not readers.
Yes. Are we?
Well, that's what it said. We are not readers. We are so we need to inculcate that culture of reading, and the way to do it is like if I write a book and my friends and my relatives and my colleagues hear about it, and I tell them, hey, this is my book, read it. And so they're, slow but sure.
Yeah.
You get them to actually have their mind on the book and read it.
Yes.
And maybe after that we can maybe develop a sense of,
a reading community.
I think reading is something that helps me to relax, and I can appreciate what other people have written and so on.
Yeah.
And so I'd really encourage them to not to fear. Get your manuscript out there. We need to read it. We need to hear your story, because there are many stories that are out there.
And untold.
And untold. Come on, let's get to hear it.
I like that. And that's why actually we have this, this sort of conversation on books, because first, there's no other platform offering it. And second, we realize there's a community of book lovers in this country, in this city, but there's nowhere that's a point of convergence for them. So everyone is just individual doing their little things. So our hope is that, you know, through this platform, through having conversations with established authors like yourself or publishers like David, for example, that we can all start to come together, and when people see the value in loving books, loving to read or even to write, then we'll have achieved what we set out to do. But now finally, so this book overtook the first manuscript.
Yes.
So where are we now with the first manuscript?
The first manuscript is going to be out soon.
Oh.
It's about mentoring. It's about how can we mentor young people in leadership and so on.
Yes.
And so when it is out, I'll definitely let you know.
Absolutely.
But I'm way ahead of. I mean, it's near to finishing. Yes. I know David has been asking, when are you bring the book? So very soon you'll be having it. Yes.
We look for. So will that happen this year?
Not this year.
Okay.
Right now I'm quite busy doing my studying on my PhD.
Okay.
Yes, and so that has taken a lot of my time. And so I'm trusting that 2017 I'll be graduating, so after that I'll probably take it up again.
Congratulations on that step. So, well, Connie, thank you so very much for coming. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much,
And I know your story and your books will really encourage the people watching. And at the start of the show, I said that if you want to win yourself a copy of these two books, well, there are three, but one is mine, and they're autographed, by the way, by Connie. You just need to listen to the conversation, and I will be asking a question, which is, Connie applied two principles to unpause her life. Two of them, she's spoken about them. What are they? So if you know what they are, hit us up, hashtag KTN Life and Style on Facebook, KTN Life and Style. On Twitter, KTN Life_Style, same to Instagram, and SMS 22840. WhatsApp number 0700 574747. So again, Connie applied two principles to unpause her life. What were they? That you answer correctly, you get one of these two books. We take a break now. Thank you so much for watching.